to have you with us on this Monday edition of Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Is it all going to come to an end tomorrow night for a few candidates, namely Bernie Sanders? As much as I'm a Bernie supporter, if Hillary Clinton wins all 5 tomorrow night, it's going to be a tough narrative to keep going. There's no question about it. The delegate count is what it is. The math is very hard against Bernie. But he would have to make the case, if he loses all 5 states tomorrow, that California is going to be the savior and Oregon, and he's going to win by an astronomical amount. So I say keep on fighting. Don't give up. There's going to be a big negotiation at the convention. What is Bernie going to want? He's going to want $15 an hour minimum wage. He's going to want to break up with the banks. He's going to want universal health care. He's going to want a reorganization, a new effort on the criminal justice system in this country. And probably some issues about trade are going to come up. So those are the things that I think are going to get written into the Democratic platform. Hillary Clinton's in a tough spot on 2 fronts. Number one, if she accepts a lot of what Bernie wants, it may be too left for centrists who may be turned off by it. I doubt it. The other thing is that Bernie's not going to have millions of dollars raised and all these millions of people chasing him and go to the convention and look like a fool and not get a primetime spot on about where he thinks the Democratic platform ought to be, where the country has to be. He has brought new people to the process. So those are the Democratic issues. The Republican issues are this. Trump is saying, and he's going to be addressing the National Press Club here in Washington on Wednesday. I think I'm going to have to sneak into that one. The problem here is that what Trump has been saying about a rigged system, whether it is or not, it looks like it on the surface, because now you got this deal being cut between Ted Cruz and John Kasich about where they're going to compete against one another so they can derail Trump. I don't know if this is good, bad, or indifferent, but Trump is going to be sitting there saying, look, I've had millions more people vote for me. How can you do this? And it's a rigged system, and a lot of people are going to believe him. How are the waters going to get smoothed out by the conservatives? Let's go to Richard Viguerie. He's the chairman of Quarterly HQ, great conservative man, and a good friend of mine. Mr. Viguerie, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you as always, Ed.
All right. Break this down for us. What's going to happen here now that Cruz and Kasich are in cohorts to do something to get rid of Trump?
Well, I think it doesn't really change a whole lot. I think that it's going to be exceedingly difficult for Trump to get a majority before he arrives in Cleveland. I think that, this deal that apparently has been worked out between Cruz and Kasich will probably eat into his delegates a little bit, maybe not significant. But this is very similar to 1976, Ed, when Ford was leading Reagan, and he got to the convention, and there was one ballot. And, of course, Ford won. If there had been a second ballot, Reagan would have won. And you're looking at the same scenario here. If there's one ballot, it looks awful good for Trump. A second ballot, Cruz wins.
And, of course, Reagan came back and beat Jimmy Carter in 1980, so Reagan wasn't done. He was just getting started. All right.
And the same is true with Cruz, which is not true, Ed, with Bernie Sanders, because Sanders is in a position where he doesn't have a long career ahead of him, and so there's no leverage that the party bosses have with him to get him out of the race. He's got every advantage to stay in the race, and he gets stronger from a bargaining, negotiating position every day, and he's not worried about a long-term future, so they've got a real problem dealing with Sanders there.
Well, as far as the progressive movement is concerned in this country, Bernie Sanders has carved out a lot of forest for the next whoever it's going to be. It won't be Bernie Sanders in 4 years, but what he has thrown out there, somebody's going to have to pick up and carry that torch. Now, over on the conservative side, I get a feeling that, Cruz is just getting started. I mean, at this particular point, he may be, let's say Trump loses to Clinton. We're really flying ahead of the aircraft here. But let's say it's Clinton and she wins. And then who are the Republicans going to come back with, depending on how her 4 years goes? But it would seem to me that Cruz would not be damaged goods if he's not the nominee, because he's going to be able to say, you see, you should have never picked Trump.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Absolutely. Well, I think you're dead on, Ed. That Cruz is the man for the future. He's 44 years old, and he's got a great career. Republicans, Democrats, conservative, liberals all agree that he's run the best campaign of anybody this year, and that bodes well for him to continue if he were to lose. And by the way, I don't concede that. I think that the odds slightly favor Cruz being the nominee right now. I think the Republican leaders are consumed with trying to stop Trump, and I think that there will be a second ballot, and I think Cruz will win. I wouldn't bet a lot on it, but I would bet on it right now. I think that's the way it looks like. But anyway, Cruz is the future, and he's got a big mailing list. He's got a lot of support out there in 50 states, and he's going to be the person to challenge and beat going forward if he doesn't make it this time.
My dad used to tell me, you can always go moderate, but it's hard to stay conservative. It's hard to stay liberal. I mean, you got to have the right political environment. Is the environment right for Ted Cruz to lay all the chips out there and for the Republican Party to say this is who we are? This is a true conservative agenda, far more conservative than Kasich and far more conservative than Trump. What do you think?
Absolutely, Ed. And one of the things that's happening, we're seeing what's happening in business now being transferred, so to speak, and happening in the political arena, in the sense that we see kids in garages now disrupting Fortune 500 companies. We see what Netflix did to Blockbusters. We see what Uber has done to the taxi business. Industry after industry is being transformed, never to go back to the way they were before. And the same with politics between Sanders and Trump and Cruz. American politics is being transformed, and the Republican establishment has been totally discredited. And I don't know what it's going to look like, quite frankly, 3-5 years from now. But I do know it's going to be different, and it's going to be significantly different. Something is happening in American politics, and we're here at the beginning. We're watching it happen before our eyes, and it's going to be very different in a couple of years, both Republicans and Democrats.
Mr. Viguerie, what is John Kasich thinking?
I think he's auditioning for vice president. And if Trump is the nominee, I think that Kasich is on a very, very short list, because Trump correctly has said, I need somebody who knows the system. I need somebody who's had a lot of experience with politicians, particularly the Congress, and Kasich there with Ohio, maybe in the bag for Republicans if he were to be on the ticket. I think he's auditioning for vice president. I think Cruz needs somebody different. I like Carly Fiorina for Cruz on the vice presidential choice.
She's out there on a stump almost daily for Cruz, no question about it. All right, are you concerned that Trump, if he doesn't get the nomination, and he does, first of all, I think that he is positioned to cash whip or make deals and prove that he's a great negotiator and get enough delegates. That being said, if he doesn't, you think it will be Cruz? And if it is Cruz, what do you think the reaction of Trump is going to be? You think
it just splits the Republican Party in a way that I don't know how you put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Yeah. So whether he gets the nomination or he doesn't, Trump's your problem.
Oh, absolutely. And Kasich, as I've said before on your program, I didn't mean Kasich. Cruz is better positioned to unite the Republican Party than certainly Kasich or Trump. Trump cannot unite the Republican Party, and he's going to either have to satisfy the moderates or the conservatives. He can't square that circle and satisfy both of them. Cruz can bring on the Trump voters as well as the moderate Republicans with his vice presidential choice. But I don't see how Trump can unite the party. I think it'll be split and probably won't recover in this election for certain.
Well, folks, this is the man who told us, Richard Viguerie, this is the man who told us last summer, Ed, look out for Cruz. He's the guy. Mr. Viguerie, good to have you on. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure, Ed. Thank you, buddy. Bye.
You bet. When we come back, we are talking about trade, not only on this continent, but now you got the president over there trying to whoop up all the Brits that they got to do the TTIP, which we're going to do a story on tonight on the News with Ed. Stay with us. We're right back. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team bring you this production. Like me on Facebook at WeGotEd.com. We're right back. Hey folks, you've heard me talk about BioGreen Clean. I'm going to show you right now on my airplane just how tough this is. I want you to keep in mind, chemical-free, 100% plant-derived, biodegradable. It is the safest cleaner that you can get, and it's the most effective. Go to our website, WeGotEd.com, or go to biogreenclean.com. www.BIOGREENCLEAN and order today. It's time to continue our conversation about mechanical insulation. Mechanical insulation is for the piping systems in our nation's commercial and industrial facilities. Facility owners are burning up billions of dollars through the lack of mechanical insulation on these piping systems. Call the iSave team. Insulation saves America valuable energy, and this team of energy conservation specialists is shovel-ready to save you money. Visit iSaveTeam.org to have a specialist give your plant an energy audit.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry taking care of the American labor. They probably have already engaged into some type of criminal cover-up, and the law prohibits the government from even doing anything about it.
Catch America's lawyer Mike Papantonio on YouTube at youtube.com/GoLeftTV.
Just when you thought there was a bad trade deal in the Pacific Rim, no, there's one really bad, the transatlantic trade investment partnership. The president was in Great Britain doing a press conference with David Cameron the other day, trying to convince the Brits not to break away from the European Union. And he's caused quite a stir amongst the Brits, saying that the president should stay out of it. They're saying that it's none of his business. Well, you know what? Obama's making it his business. And he thinks that this trade deal would be almost deep-sixed if they were to break away from the European Union. Bottom line is, it's almost a mirror of what the Trans-Pacific Partnership is. This is why the ratings for this trade deal have plummeted to the dirt in Germany, and it's causing all kinds of problems with Angela Merkel. We're going to be doing this story tonight on the news with Ed. We're back tomorrow. Have a great one.